Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's go ahead and lie down for a minute and get a sense of how the body is laying on the floor. We'll take a minute or two to scan the comfort or the discomfort, what gives in to the floor and what doesn't give into the floor. How do we see the floor in our mind's eye? Is something hard that restricts us? Or is something that the body can melt into and become part of? Do we know how to let go the holding in the muscles so there's less resistance to the hardness of the floor? And are there parts of the body that it's easier to do? In parts of the body that's maybe we don't know how to do that, how to access that relaxation. When people say, just relax, okay, how do I go there? What do I say to myself? How do I access the letting go of the muscle holding? Because the muscles are holding as a protection, as a reason for fear, for pain, for whatever it is. Habitual imbalance between one side to the other. I mean, who knows? So many reasons can be for holding tension in a muscle. So the letting go is not so simple. We need to protect ourselves. So something else needs to come in place so we can let go. Some kind of a learning, some kind of a different way of doing, so the let go is safe and brings up different results, maybe a better results. And in the last 15, 20 years, there's so many wise experts on the internet that gives you advices for this and that. I mean, it's like bombarded with radio station and people talking and advising. And one of the things is that I come, into my reality is self-love, accepting ourselves. And again, what is loving myself? And why would I love myself? And how would I get there? And for me, it is first to know myself, to know where is my boundary with the outside world and how do I let the outside world get into me, inside my reality, how do I process it, and then how do I give back, how do I handle the self in a loving way. So I thought that maybe today we can explore it in movement. And I have no idea what it's going to be like. So bear with me and join me and we'll see what comes out of it. It can be wonderful and it can be nothing. But without trying, we won't know. So as you're laying there, put your legs in a way that's comfortable for you, whether straight or bent, with the knees apart or the knees touching, I don't care. We're going to start moving the right hand. We're going to turn it in and out. We're going to rotate the whole arm in and out. So at 1 minute the thumb is pointing away from your body, and at the other the thumb is pointing in towards the body. So you're rolling the bones on the arm, on the forearm, the wrist, and the hand. The elbow is rolling from outside to inside. One time the little finger is rolling on the floor, and then the thumb is touching the floor from the inside. The thumb may be touching the floor from the outside, or not. Mine is not. And start gathering information and awareness. Is the shoulder part fit? Is it comfortable? What are the sensations when the back of the hand is touching maybe the rug, maybe your mat, whatever it is? What does it feel like? The fabric sensation on the fingers from the inside, from the outside. And the next time the thumb is towards the body, start sliding the fingers slightly, barely touching the surface towards the body, towards the inside, the outside of your thigh. And maybe you're touching the pants on the outside. Maybe you feel the fabric of your pants. And then let go and come back and turn the hand so the palm is facing up and the thumb is on the outside. And back and forth. You're working only with the right hand. And once the thumb gets in towards the body, you start sliding the fingers towards the body until it touches the thigh. How soft can you be? How tender can you be? How loving can you be? And back and forth in the tempo that feels right to you. Where is the sensation? Is it in the tip of your fingers? How is the wrist responding? If the hand wasn't your hand, if it was a different hand that's caressing you, that's coming towards you, how would you like that touch to feel like? Maybe you're a baby again and it's a mother caressing you. Whatever the image that you have, is it all 5 fingers? Is it several fingers? And as you feel more comfortable and more knowing, see if the fingers can go a little bit higher. And what do you need to do for the fingers to go higher but create no tension in the muscles? What anchors? How do you use the levers of the bones? Is anything changing in your inhale or exhale? Can you keep it going with the fingers traveling up towards the thigh and back down to the floor? And each time it's a new caressing, it's a new approach, it's a new way of discovering the way that the hand and the arm is doing the traveling and the way that your body is receiving. Are you able to turn the palms more when you come out because of the relaxation that's being built? Is there a rhythm to the ebb and flow of coming in towards the body and moving away from the body. Are you completely relaxing when you come back down to the floor? Are you giving yourself time to breathe, to observe? Is it easier for you to go away from the body or to come in towards the body? And the hand keeps on moving, and maybe the next time you can even touch your belly. And if you're getting all the way to your belly, maybe you can wait there for a minute and feel the way that your hand is placed on your belly. Is the warmth coming from your hand to your belly? Is there warmth coming from your belly to your hand? And you decide when it's time to go back out and when to come back in, and how long to stay in each phase. It's your exploration. Is touching the thigh is different than touching the surface of your belly. And as you're done with the belly, you go up a little bit along the vagus nerve in between the ribs towards your heart. And how does the fingers caress that opening between the ribs? And how relaxed can the arm be as you're rolling up and down? You're coming through the floor. The hand is coming through the floor, touching the surface of the rug. Is the thumb touching the floor? Is it only 4 fingers touching the floor? How does it feel to be close to your heart? Do you want to stay touching your heart? Does it bring fear? Does it bring comfort? Can your fingers give your heart what it needs? And again, you stay or you go back at the timing that is right for you. Just make sure that you don't start doing the movement on automatic, that you keep on exploring what there is to explore. And when you feel like you know, you keep on going up towards your sternum and you come back. And you come back in the same way that you came up, or maybe not. If you had to explain the path that your fingers are doing on a piece of paper to somebody that doesn't see it, would you know what to say? Are you coming down on the side, on the outside of your little finger, or are you coming with a flat hand? Will you be able to make it to a romance? Really describing the path. Take like 3, 4, 8 pages. How much do you know about your hand traveling on your body and the different sensation that you feel touching your thigh versus your belly, your heart, up to your sternum, going over the ribs, over this cartilage, and coming back? Is the way back the same as coming in?
No, this makes me feel really anxious. I'm trying to calm down, but it's just getting worse.
Just do as much as you can,
Okay.
as little as you want. There's no right and wrong.
Okay.
And as you come up to the sternum and you want to go further up, the elbow leaves the floor and start traveling up your ribs until your fingers are coming up towards your neck and the elbow is coming above your torso. And then you go back. And the elbow meets the floor, and the hand, the arm, the forearm and the wrist and the hand are coming back to the ground. So as the hand comes up towards the heart and continues towards the sternum, the elbow is coming up through the ribs, and eventually the elbow will flip over your face. Take your time to find, so you're not just lifting the arm, but the weight will flip it. What does it feel for the hand to go over your breast, over your shoulder, for the elbow to be flipping over your face? And keep on doing it. Eventually the hand will come up over the head and maybe fall on the floor above your head. This is the trajectory, but how you get there and how long it takes you to get there, with knowing what you're sensing and what you're feeling. Remember we talked about sensing and feeling? Keep on exploring what it means to you for your hand to be traveling, touching your skin, touching your clothing, and finding the softness and the relaxation and the weight of gravity. And eventually the hand is up on the floor behind your head, and then of course the whole way back. What is the relationship between the movement in the shoulder, in the elbow, in the wrists, and the fingers? So our exploration can be completely physical to how we do what we do, the angles in the joints and the letting go in the joints. Or you can also go into the sensations and the feeling of touching and being with yourself. And you can stay at any station along the way, that it feels right for you to stay and find out if there is more exploration that you can do there, or more relaxation that you can do there, more letting go. And when it's right, then you find a way back. And there are areas that it's harder to let go in terms of not doing and just allowing gravity. Notice those places. It's not right or wrong. Just keep on gathering information. Again, whether it's physical or whether it's emotional. And the next time that you're with your hand down on the floor, cease from doing and straighten your legs if they're bent. And take a minute to feel how different that side feels from the other side. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to have words. It can feel full, or it can feel, I don't know, whatever it feels to you. And then for a minute, do it in your mind's eye on the other side. Just see yourself in your mind's eye taking the fingers and rolling them in and out without doing, and bringing the fingers closer to the body, and start traveling on the body, and seeing your elbow coming up towards the ribs and over the torso, and the arm is getting heavy and falling down towards the floor above your head. And then the elbow needs to come up against gravity and somehow flip back towards the ribs and come back down towards the floor. So now that the brain has the picture, we're going to start doing it on the left side. So just turn the hand in and out and start sensing the elbow turning in and out. And this side may go a little bit faster, the brain already knows. So once the thumb is in towards the body, the fingers will start finding the way towards the thigh, towards the body. And again, your knees can be bent or straight. And find the ease of the fingers and the lovingness, the caressing of the fingers and the palm, and the acceptance of your body to receive the hand and receive the elbow, just to the amount that you can. And if feeling and sensing is too much, then explore the angles of the joints and the heaviness of gravity. And the lightness of the movement. To hold up a piece of paper takes less effort than holding a suitcase. Can you find in your system just how much it takes to move the arm through the gravity, against gravity, with gravity? How can you make it the easiest possible? So you have the psychological, emotional aspect, and you have the physical aspect. And you travel through those any way you see right for this morning. Completely open. How does your shoulder joint receive the rotation? Does touching the body along helps the elbow flip? Does having the forearm on the forehead helps the falling down towards the floor? Does covering the eyes with the elbow and the forearm feel supporting the darkness that comes upon on the way? Does it feel good? I have this old memory of coming from school and finding my mother resting in the afternoon, and that's how she slept, with the elbow over her eyes. And the next time your hand comes back down to the ground, let it all go. Lengthen your legs. Maybe open your palms up towards the sky. And see how open it feels. How safe it feels to be with the palms up. Vulnerable. That's what cats and dogs do, right? They turn on their back and they're completely vulnerable. Does it feel safe for us to be vulnerable? How does the floor receive us now? Are your muscles letting go a little bit more? Do you have a deeper knowing of what relaxing is? And go ahead and turn to a side, whichever side you want. And bend your knees. And you can either put your head on your arm or put your head on the ground on a pillow. And put the other hand on the top of your body. And take your hand and start traveling with your hand down towards the knee and back up towards your ilium, the hip bone. And start noticing how heavy is your arm laying on your body, or how light is your arm laying on your body. Does it feel different than lifting your hand up towards your thigh? Are your fingers heavier, or do they have the same caressing, sensitive sensation that you had when they came up from the rug, up towards your thigh? Think about your fingers maybe walking up a topographic map, finding up all the wrinkles and the texture and the themes on your clothing. Can you feel the elbow traveling along the ribs? Can you describe the angle that the elbow is doing? Do you know the angle of your wrist? How far up the ilium do you go? And how far down towards the knee or beyond the knee do you go? And as you explore, start allowing the breath to be included in the movement. And start allowing the ribs to be included in the movement. So as your fingers are going down towards your knee, the side you're laying on is rolling backwards, and the side that's up towards the ceiling is rolling forward. Your head and your eyes are rolling down towards the floor. Foot over foot, and the trajectory is from the ilium bone, from the hip bone, down on the knee, on the thigh, towards the knee, and maybe towards the lower leg, depending on your body relationship and your flexibility. The knees are forward in front of you, like a baby. So draw the knees a little bit higher. And start including the ribs rotation and the eyes rotation and the head rotation. Where are you going when you get to the knee? Are you going on the inside of the knee, or are you going down towards the shin? How is the rotation of the head and the ribs influencing the movement of your fingers and the wrist? Do you have tension in your elbow, or is it nice and resting on your ribs? Can you use all the help and create an orchestra that every part of the body is creating the music, and together it makes the beautiful sound? Is your head turning up towards the ceiling when your hand gets up towards your pelvis? What happens between the knees? Do you feel the movement of knee over knee? Do you feel the movement of hip over hip, the opening, like the hip is widening as you're turning with your face up and the hand is coming towards the hip? And the upper ilium is coming forward as the hand is sliding over the knee. And of course we can play and do differentiations and turn the head in opposite direction and do all kinds of gimmicks, but today I want to stay with touch as a directive, whether it's emotional, psychological, sensing, or directive, whichever works for you. And take it as far as you want to explore, as fast as you want to explore, as slow as you want to explore. And the next time that you come with a hand towards the hip, allow the upper leg to open up, the knee to come up towards the ceiling. Allow the hip to open up and roll to the floor until you lay on your back, and slowly bring the other leg and turn to the other side. And I know you're going to have to adjust yourself on your mat. That's okay. Go ahead and adjust. Draw your knees up like a baby, like a fetus, and put your hand on your hip and start exploring the hand going up and down on the thigh, from the knee to the hip and from the hip to the knee, allowing the ribs to respond, allowing the eyes to respond, allowing your head to respond, allowing one knee rolling over the other, all with the guidance of your fingers, your wrist, your elbow. Where does this hand go to when you go down towards the knee? And what happens to the elbow when you come back with a hand towards the hip? Does the elbow fall down towards the floor? Do you have different amount of rotation on one side versus the other? And you're welcome to explore things that I don't say, that you think of, that you see, relationship that you feel. When the hip is open and the elbow is behind you and the hand is on your hip, Can you relax the elbow? Can it reach the floor maybe? Can you let go of the forearm? But not with a stretch, but by letting go into gravity. And the next time you are with your hip open, allow the knee, the upper knee to open and the leg to open, and roll onto your back and bring the other knee over and roll to the side and bring the fingers along the floor until your fingers are coming up the hip and you are laying on your side, and open the leg, allow the fingers to roll on the floor and roll to the back and roll to the other side, and bring the fingers on the floor until they find your back side, your hip, and bring your hand to your thigh and open the upper knee and roll from side to side with the same quality of the fingers traveling with a soft sensation. And you can do it faster if you want to. And then roll to the back and lengthen your legs. And notice how your muscles are now relating to the surface you're laying on. Did the inner sensation change through what we've done? And when you're ready, roll to the side, and from the side to a sitting position. And then slowly from a sitting position to a standing up position. Taking your time to explore what it feels like standing up.
You have tag on your pants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
And then once you're standing up, take your time. Start walking a little bit in the room and feeling how it feels to walk with the sensation of maybe more relaxing, less tension or holding that maybe is not necessary.